Welcome to the Lucky Fortune English Podcast, everyone. I'm Vincent, and today we're going to be looking at a fascinating corner of the Zodiac.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, have you ever heard that saying?
Oh, yeah, a sharp tongue, but a soft heart, right?
Exactly. Those people who may sound a little harsh at times, but deep down they're really sweethearts.
Yeah, I know a few people like that.
Well, today we're going to explore three female zodiac signs
Mhm.
that are said to embody this trait:
Ooh, fun.
Leo, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. And to help guide us through this, we have our resident astrology expert, Jenny.
Hi, everyone.
So Jenny, each of these signs is known for this contrast between a sharp tongue and a soft heart, but they all express it in their own unique way.
Yeah, that's right. It's fascinating how their individual personalities and ruling planets play into this dynamic.
Okay, so let's start with Leo,
Oh.
the queens of the zodiac, born between July 23rd and August 22nd.
Hmm.
What makes them so body seer?
Well, Leos have this incredibly strong aura. It's almost like a magnetic presence.
I can see that.
And they're ruled by the sun, which is all about self-expression and vitality. So naturally, they project this regal energy.
So it's not just about being bossy. It's more like they have this inherent need to be seen and heard.
Exactly. And like the sun, they can be radiant and warm, but if their pride is threatened, they can also burn.
Oh, so there's that fire element.
Yes. Our source mentioned how Leos can unleash some powerful words if their dignity is challenged, but they're also quick to soften with a sincere apology.
It's almost like they're playing a role, right? Like a stage performer who might seem tough and commanding during the show, but off stage, they're actually very kind and caring.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy. It's not that they're being fake, it's more about how they navigate the world with this strong sense of self.
That makes sense. So have you ever known a Leo who embodies this tough love approach? They might criticize you, but, deep down, they just want the best for you.
Oh, absolutely. One of my closest friends is a Leo. She can be brutally honest at times, but her feedback always comes from a place of love and wanting to help me grow.
Yeah, I think we all need a friend like that, someone who's not afraid to tell us the truth, even if it's not always easy to hear.
For sure. It's a valuable quality.
Okay, so now let's move on to the enigmatic Scorpio woman, born between October 24th and November 22nd. They're known for being intense, but where does this soft heart come in?
Scorpios are deeply emotional, and like the ocean, their feelings can run very deep.
Deep waters.
You might see the waves crashing on the surface, but there's a whole world of stillness and calm beneath.
Okay, that's a beautiful image. But what about their sting? That famous Scorpio revenge we hear so much about? How does that fit into this idea of a soft heart?
Well, Scorpios do have a strong sense of justice, and they don't forget easily. But remember, their sharp words are often a defense mechanism. They've likely been hurt before, so they put up walls to protect themselves.
I see. So it's more about self-preservation than a desire to inflict pain.
Right. It's not always black and white, but what's important to remember is that a Scorpio's capacity for love is just as intense as their anger. They're fiercely loyal and protective of those they care about.
Our source mentioned how in romantic relationships, a Scorpio might lash out with harsh words during a fight, but then a single loving gesture can completely melt away their anger.
Exactly. It's all about understanding the complexities of their emotional landscape. They feel things deeply, and their words, whether harsh or kind, are just one way of expressing that intensity.
So it's like those storms at sea that suddenly clear up.
Yeah, a great analogy.
Okay, that's really insightful. Now on to our final Thesia sign, the Sagittarius woman born between November 23rd and December 21st. They're known for being free spirits. So how does this blunt honesty fit into that?
Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, the planet of expansion and optimism. They have this innate desire for truth and freedom, and they express themselves with a bold, unfiltered honesty.
So they just say what they mean, even if it comes across as harsh sometimes.
Pretty much. But here's the thing. Sagittarius women aren't trying to be mean. They genuinely believe in being straightforward and authentic.
Okay, but how can we be sure they actually have a soft heart under that blunt exterior?
Well, think about their ruling planet, Jupiter. It's also associated with generosity and good fortune. Sagittarius women have big hearts, and they're always willing to help others. They might deliver the truth like a shot of espresso, but it's because they care enough to be real with you.
I like that analogy. Strong but good.
Right.
Our source even used a quote about Sagittarius.
Meaning, the world kisses me with Cain, I respond with a song.
That's beautiful. It perfectly captures their resilience and optimism. Even when faced with challenges or hurt feelings, they choose to rise above it and find the positive. Their soft heart shines through, in their ability to turn pain into something beautiful.
So even when a Sagittarius friend might be brutally honest, ultimately they have your best interests at heart.
Absolutely. They want to see you grow and succeed, and sometimes a little tough love is what it takes.
Hmm.
But they'll always be there to celebrate your victories with you as well.
It's making me see these three signs in a whole new light. They might have sharp tongues, but they also have hearts of gold, and that's a powerful combination. Yeah, I agree. It's a reminder that people are complex, and we shouldn't judge them based on first impressions.
Totally. We've got to look beneath the surface.
Exactly. You know, it's really fascinating how even within astrology, this whole idea of stele can manifest in such different ways.
Right. It really depends on the sign.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you that there's so much more to people than what you see at first glance.
Yeah, I mean, but before this deep dive, I'll be honest, I probably would have just seen a sharp-tongued Leo as, kind of bossy.
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily thought about like the deeper motivations or insecurities that might be driving those words.
It's easy to just fall back on those like stereotypical interpretations,
Yeah.
especially with astrology. But when you really take the time to understand all those little nuances, you start to see how those like seemingly negative traits actually often come paired with incredible strength.
It's like with a Scorpio, right?
Yeah.
Their intensity might come out as anger sometimes, but it's also what fuels their passionate loyalty and how protective they are.
Exactly. Like two sides of the same coin. You can't have one without the other.
And then you have Sagittarius. That blunt honesty can be a bit jarring, I'll admit.
Yeah.
But it also speaks to their deep sense of integrity and their desire to help others see the truth.
They're not afraid to challenge you, to push you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
But they do it because they believe in your potential.
So it's like instead of taking their sharp words personally, we can try to see them as almost like a form of encouragement,
Yeah.
like a sign that they actually care enough to be brutally honest with us.
I think that's a really helpful way to look at it.
Yeah.
It's about shifting your perspective and seeing those words through a lens of compassion and understanding.
It kind of reminds me of that saying, the truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. Maybe those pure folks are just trying to help us get to the freedom part faster.
Maybe so. They're like the truth tellers of the Zodiac.
Yeah.
Even if their delivery isn't always the most gentle.
Yeah, for sure. This is making me think about those times when I might have been the place of myself. You know those moments when you say something in the heat of the moment and then you're like, why did I say that?
Oh yeah, I think we've all been there.
Totally.
The important thing is to try and recognize those patterns in yourself, and then you can try to communicate more consciously.
Right. Like to just pause for a second and ask yourself, okay, is what I'm about to say coming from a place of love, or is this just my ego talking?
Yeah.
Because even if we have good intentions, if our words are laced with anger or judgment,
Yeah.
they're not going to land the way we want them to.
Absolutely. It's about becoming more aware of the impact our words have on other people, and then striving to express yourself in a way that's both truthful and kind.
So it's not about suppressing our feelings or pretending to be someone we're not.
Right.
It's about finding that balance between honesty and compassion.
Exactly. And it's a lifelong journey. We're
Yeah.
all constantly learning and evolving in how we communicate.
I think that's a really important point. We shouldn't expect ourselves or others to be perfect communicators all the time.
Yeah.
There will be times when we slip up, when our sharp tongues get the better of us.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
We can learn from those experiences and use them as opportunities to grow.
Right.
The key is to be open to feedback, to apologize when necessary, and to keep striving to be better.
I like that. It's all about that self-awareness and that willingness to look inward and see where we can improve. Because ultimately, I think we all want to be seen for our good intentions, even if we don't always express them in the most graceful way.
I couldn't agree more. It's about recognizing that we're all works in progress and giving each other the grace to stumble along the way.
This has been such an insightful conversation.
Yeah, it has.
It's really made me think about the power of words and how important it is to use them wisely.
And to remember that even the sharpest words can come from a place of love,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to those true folks.
exactly. They might not sugarcoat things, but
Yeah.
their honesty is a gift,
Yeah.
even if it comes wrapped in a prickly package.
And sometimes that prickly package is exactly what we need
All
to
right.
wake us up and help us see things more clearly.
So true. It's like a tough love message from the universe,
Yeah.
delivered through those sharp-tongued but soft-hearted individuals in our lives.
Well said. So let's all embrace those prickly but well-meaning folks. And remember to look for the heart of gold beneath the surface.
Yeah, and maybe even recognize a little yo in ourselves.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
We all have those different sides to our personalities. It's part of what makes us human,
That's so true. Well, Jenny, this has been such an eye-opening deep dive. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of these signs and maybe even a little bit of myself.
I'm so glad to hear that. It's always so fascinating to explore these different aspects of astrology and see how they actually connect to our everyday lives.
Yeah, for sure. So before we wrap up, I wanted to ask, what's one thing you hope our listeners will take away from this deep dive?
I hope they'll leave with a greater sense of empathy and understanding, not just for Leo Scorpios and Sagittarius women, but for everyone they encounter. You know,
Yeah,
we all have our own unique ways of communicating and expressing ourselves. And sometimes those ways might not always be super clear or easy to understand right away.
that's such a powerful message. It's like a reminder to look beyond the surface
Yeah.
and really try to see the heart beneath, the words, the actions.
Exactly. And to remember that even those sharp-tongued individuals, those ip folks, might just have the softest hearts of all.
I love that, Jenny. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us.
It was my pleasure, Vincent. Always a joy to dive deep with you and all our listeners out there.
And speaking of our amazing listeners out there,
Yeah.
thank you all so much for joining us on this journey into the fascinating world of astrology. We hope you enjoyed exploring the concept of Sichie today,
Yeah.
and that you maybe learned a little something new about yourselves and the people around you.
And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to subscribe to the Lucky Fortune English podcast so you don't miss any of our future episodes.
We've got so much more to explore together.
Until next time, keep those hearts open and those minds curious.
And we'll see you all again soon for another deep dive.